Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Year 3. I'm Joe Dixon, Head of Year 3. During this video, I hope to give you all the information you need ready for September when your child begins in Year 3. Hopefully, you've all received the email that includes this PowerPoint that I will talk through during the presentation. I won't read through each slide, but I'll just give some extra key information based on each slide. The form tutors in Year 3 are Mrs. Allen and myself. Mrs. Allen also teaches Year 6 maths, and I teach Year 3 and 4 for games as well as Year 3 science. Some of the main changes for Year 3. They'll be moving around to different classrooms in the school. They'll have new teachers, some of whom they've already met, and they'll need to carry around their water bottle and their reading book, as well as their pencil case and all the things they need in their pencil case. The children will be put into houses and they'll be able to compete in some competitions in Year 3 against other houses, as well as earning pluses for their house. There are some competitions open to everybody that all the children will be involved in Year 3. For example, netball, singing, cross-country, football, rugby. It's a slightly longer school day. I think you will notice initially in September the children are quite tired by the end of the day. We do notice that ourselves at first. More areas for the children to play in the playground, which they'll have fun exploring. They will also begin to use ink pens in school. I've actually got a friction pen here. Mine's green, but the children will use blue. The children do like these pens because they are able to rub out if they make a mistake. I'm just going to come close just so you can see what they look like. The children are welcome to use any ink pen they like, but the friction pens are quite popular. I use them myself, and it is just nice for the children, if they do make a mistake, that they can rub those mistakes out. And I think initially, when starting to use pen, it just makes them feel a little bit more confident. I'm just going to discuss reading in Year 3, but to do that, I'm actually going to move into the corridor just to show you where the reading books are in Year 3. In Year 3, the children will no longer have their book changed for them. Over the first couple of days, Mrs. Allen and myself will complete reading assessments with the children to gain a reading level, and then we'll give each child a reading book based on their certain level. And then from that point on, it's then their responsibility to take the book home, read it, and then come back and change their book. We'll, of course, encourage and remind the children to do that. Then it just gives them a chance to take a little bit more responsibility for their reading. So, for example, if they were pink and they were given a pink reading book, they would take this book home to read. And then once completed, they could bring it back and change it for a new pink book. Please do bring those books back when completed, because we do have a limited number in Year 3. The children will also now be able to borrow 2 books from the library, which they'll be shown in one of their first library lessons in September. The children will now use the Underwood, the new school changing rooms. Every Monday, they'll be able to take their bags and drop them off at their locker, but they'll be assigned their locker in one of their first games lessons. As the children will be walking back down from the Underwood after their games lessons, initially, for the first couple of weeks, I will bring them down myself at the end of each lesson. And then when they become more confident, they'll begin to walk themselves down back through the stables at the end of each games lesson. In Year 3, we feel like throughout the year, the children will begin to take a little bit more responsibility for their learning and hopefully begin to work with a little bit more independence. That might be trying to work towards targets that they're set in their work or from their effort grade, trying to ensure they're producing their best work consistently and attempting to solve some problems by themselves. Kit. Hopefully, you received a kit list as well in your email. There is a boys' games and PE kit list and a girls' games and PE kit list. It may be useful to laminate one of those, we can do that in school, and put it into your child's locker, they can do that themselves, and maybe have one in their bag. And I would recommend each week packing the games bag together. Again, it gives the children a little bit more responsibility, and they then realise that things they need to include in their games and PE bag throughout that week. We will encourage the children, obviously, to look after their games kit within school. There is lost property, but hopefully the kit will stay in their bag or in their locker. And please do, as always, name everything in the games bag. We will do a check of all games kit at the beginning in September to ensure kit is named. Pluses. The children now get a chance to earn pluses, which they love. And they can be earned for lots of things, for being kind, helpful, working hard, good pieces of work, and presentation, which I do like. Minuses and behaviour marks. The children will still have a traffic light in their classroom, which they're used to seeing in pre-prep. We still use the same system in Year 3. Minuses can be issued in Year 3, but we are, of course, lenient in terms of prep being late, because for children, it's a learning curve for all of the children. But where appropriate, for unkind behaviour, for example, some minuses will be issued, and your support with that is greatly appreciated. I won't read through this whole slide, but I do think this point is really key. Some of the children can get a little bit worried about lunch sometimes, so we try to, in class, go through the menu each week. I think it's great if you can do that at home as well. Go through the menus so the children know what they would like to have for lunch when they go into lunch that day, and it doesn't cause them any worry. Lots of opportunities to speak to Year 3 teachers throughout Year 3. We're always available via email. There will also be a parent-tutor meeting just to check how your child has settled in at the beginning of Year 3, and 2 subject parents' evenings where you can meet your child's individual teachers to discuss their lessons, as well as effort grades and attainment grades and reports at the end of the year. Each year we try to meet Year 2 as often as possible. This year it has been slightly more difficult, but I have given them a virtual tour and been to some of the different classrooms that they'll be in next year. I have been into their classrooms on numerous times throughout Year 2, just to meet them and see the different pieces of their work. And they've had a chance to meet their tutor and ask some questions. How you can help. One thing I didn't discuss was reading. I know that in pre-prep the children are used to reading every single day to a member of staff. However, in Year 3, that's not quite possible. Each teacher will read at least once with every single person in their English group, and then hopefully with the help of learning support as well, we are able to read up to 3 or 4 times with some other members of the year group as well. And we'll also complete a comprehension task every single week. So everyone will be read to at least once, as well as completing a comprehension activity in class. And with the help of learning support, we can also help target some children that make a little bit more support with their reading to be able to read 3 or 4 times a week as well. I won't read through each of the subjects, but there are some new lessons for the children. For example, FDT, in the FDT block, they have had science and music lessons before, but they'll just be in different rooms now. The children will be put into sets. With the help of Year 2, the children have been set for English and maths. All the activities, all the objectives are still the same. For example, when my group are working through fractions, Mrs. Allen's group will also be working through fractions. They might go into slightly more detail in one group than the other, but the objectives are still the same, and the topics will still be the same as we move through. The sets are reviewed regularly, and we'll often complete the same activity just to gauge how pupils are doing within those groups. There's now a chance for children to go to clubs as well, which they really, really enjoy. Lots of clubs available to Year 3, for example, art, sewing, football. We do recommend initially in September the children maybe only stay for one, possibly two clubs, only because with the extra long day, the children can be quite tired. But if you feel like your child will be able to cope with more than one club, then please feel free to join them up to as many clubs as you like. And prep is also available each evening for children if they need to stay late in school, where they can complete work or read in the library. Prep will be set each week. Each week the children will have a maths activity to complete, as well as a times table activity. This year, for the first time, we've started using Times Table Rockstar, which is an online program, which times the children how quickly they can answer certain questions. It's also aimed at their level, and it doesn't move them on to the next level until they're answering questions in a certain amount of time. They're just a fun competition with themselves. They can try and increase their time, and they can also earn coins where they can do things to their character, like get different outfits, which they really seem to enjoy. It's been very popular this year. So each week they'll have one maths activity and a short times table activity to complete online. As well as that, there'll be an English activity and spellings set. And this is a bit that confuses people sometimes. When we set spellings, one week there will be a worksheet linked to those spellings, and then the other week the children will just put each of those spellings into sentences. So one week it'll be spellings and writing sentences, and the week after it'll be learning the spellings and completing a spelling worksheet. The day, as I said, is slightly longer. Each lesson is 35 minutes, and sometimes we'll have a double lesson for things like science or art, English and maths, so then it'll be a slightly longer lesson. And the school day will finish at 4 o'clock. Thank you for watching my presentation this evening. Please don't hesitate to contact me or Mrs. Allen if you have any questions at all about September. Hopefully I've given you lots of information, and this PowerPoint should be in your email somewhere, so you can have a read through as well to check anything I may have missed out, but hopefully I haven't. I look forward to meeting you all in September. See you soon.